If you've ever been part of a team, you've probably noticed how much support teammates give each other. I saw something similar in our speech class this year, and that's one of the reasons I enjoyed it. I've been in this class since the very beginning, so I think that I'm qualified to speak about it. It's relevant because we've all taken this class, and if you haven't taken a speech class, then you will at some point, or deliver a speech. In this class, I've not only learned how to deliver a speech, but also grown as a person and learned more about myself and others. First, I will talk about what I learned technically, then I will talk about what I learned about myself, and finally, what I've learned about people as a group. So, let's talk about what I learned from the technical side of it. First and foremost, I learned what I set out to learn, and that is how to deliver a well written speech in front of people. On the technical front, I learned how to format my speech so that it sounds professional and it lends me credibility as a speaker. Another way that this class helped me in learning how to format and write a speech and deliver it is in the fact that I had so much practice. I got so much practice in this class speaking to groups of people on prepared topics and also stuff that was more off the cuff like we did in the games. Research online at Psychology Today, last accessed December 20th of this year, shows that public speaking elicits a substantial cortisol response, which is the hormone that is a marker for stress, and that practice is one of the things that you can do to help you get rid yourself of that. So now that I talked about what happened technically in this class, now I'm going to talk about what I learned about myself. Another important thing I learned is that it's easier to talk about things that you're passionate about rather than things that you're not passionate about. For example, in the first speech we ever did, which was the cultural artifact speech, I was pretty nervous when I talked about it. But even though I was pretty nervous, I also knew that I knew what I was talking about. I knew my subject, and the fact that it was something that I was already knowledgeable about and interested in made it a lot easier for me to talk about. And subsequently, when I did my speech on women in hip hop, that was also something that I was passionate about and had never spoken about, because when I usually give speeches and when I used to give speeches, I pick things that are not connected to me. I like to stay disconnected from the topic because it makes it easier, and it's just easier to not put yourself out there rather than to do that. But this year, I really cemented what I was passionate about and where I want my career to go, which is why my topics centered on things such as music and television. Now that I talked about what I learned, I'm going to talk about what I learned about people as a group. So, the last and maybe most important thing I learned is that people can be incredibly supportive when subjected to the same conditions. And this is shown when we look at things like studies of empathy. According to websites such as Succeed Socially, last accessed December 20th, 2015, empathy is, quote, a bedrock social skill, unquote. This manifests as both emotional empathy and cognitive empathy. One is about being able to relate to emotions others are feeling, while the other means that you can see their point of view. So what does that mean for this class? This class became actually very supportive of each other as we progressed through the semester. I was always really impressed by the amount of cheering and laughter and just like good vibes that people would be sending each other. We all knew what we were going through was the same thing, and we were all nervous wrecks about it. So we realized we shouldn't beat ourselves up and we shouldn't beat others up about it, and I appreciated that. So now we're gonna head over to the conclusion. So in this class, what I basically learned was to write and deliver a speech, as well as things I never knew about myself and other people. First, I talked about the technical aspects of writing a speech. Then I talked about how it's easier to talk about something you're passionate about. And finally, I discussed how people in the same situation tend to be very supportive of each other. In closing, I had a really great time this semester and will be carrying the things I've learned with me for the rest of my life. Thank you.